check, good. So I'm Max Ceron, Max Ceron, CWB Association Welding Podcast. Podcast. Today we have a really cool guest, Welding Podcast.
The show is about to begin.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the CWB Association Podcast. My name is Max Ceron, with you as always for another entertaining guest. And today we're thankfully back on the west side of Canada because I feel like 90% of my guests are from the east. Yesterday I got a guy from Calgary. Today we have Ria Schnell coming to us from BC, a small town by the Okanagan. I forget the name, a small 600-person town. Ria, how's it going?
It's going great, Max.
What's the name of your
Thanks for
town
having-
again? You literally just told me and it popped out of my head.
It's Falkland.
Falkland. And is it like the Falkland Islands in Argentina that were warred over during the occupations of England and during that time? Do you know anything about that war?
I don't.
So Google it sometime. There was a war and these Falkland Islands were a strategic military base. I'm a super nerd for history, so maybe someday if you're bored, you'll have to read about the Falkland Islands.
It's nothing like that, but we have a jet mine.
Oh,
So
cool.
you can be a miner in town. Yeah.
So Ria, being in BC, is that where you were born and raised?
I was born in Vancouver.
In Vancouver. And what took you away from the big city and the bright lights?
Oh, well, my parents moved us up to the Okanagan when I was like 12 years old. And then I moved back when I was in my early 20s. And I did that for a while. And I went to welding school down on the coast. And then when I was looking for a job out of school, I decided, well, actually, I applied at a bunch of different places all over BC. And I got a job in the Okanagan where my parents lived. So it was kind of perfect. So I moved back to where my family was.
So which college did you go to for welding?
I went to a piping industry college in Delta.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
What was
it's
the name
called
of
the
it?
piping industry.
Oh yeah. So basically this college is mainly around learning to do pressure piping or structural piping, like DOM, like what kind of stuff?
Yeah, it was welding and pipe fitting and plumbing, I think they did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was just the name of the school. We didn't really focus on pipe. We focused on just
Welding.
welding school.
Mm-hmm. And how long was the program?
I think I finished my program in about 6 months. It was kind of like a go at your own pace program.
Okay. Yeah.
And we learned everything on book at home, and we did everything we did at school, we did in the shop. So we spent the entire time at school in the shop, and I did night school.
Did you like it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
Oh yeah. It was so awesome. My class was 16 people, and half were women and half were men. And it was really interesting. I started that school doing like an introduction to trades. So before I went into welding, they put me through painting and cement finishing and tile setting and pipe fitting, and welding was, I knew I wanted to do welding when I did the introduction to trades, but it was cool to kind of learn the other, like the basics, very basics of the other trades, and know that welding was definitely what I wanted to do.
Well, learning a little bit about all the other trades really gets helpful down the line when you look at how you can mix your trade with other materials for like art or for function or for furniture or for whatever. Like I remember I took a fiberglass class in high school. So my high school didn't even have a welding program. So I had to pick between like photography, woodworking, fiberglass, and I was like, oh, like, I don't really like any of this. I took fiberglass and I found it super interesting. Fast forward to me building cars 20 years later, and people are asking me to do like fiberglass door panels and fiberglass, parts for their vehicles. And I was like, I know how to do that because this weird skill that I picked up in grade 10 is now super useful. Like,
Absolutely. Skills are good to have. Anything.
mhm. Now, you said you half your students in your class were women. That is not common. I just did an interview last night, and they were telling me that in the 4 years that they went to school, they were the only girl in all four levels of their schooling. And for you to say there was half, was is this maybe more indicative of BC culture? Do you think that there's a lot? Maybe was it pretty well representative for women in the trades in BC, or do you think it was just a fluke that was your class?
I think I think it was a fluke. Um,
Mhm,
when I went to school, I was with the Women in Trades program, WITT,
mhm.
Women in Trades training, and I guess that they were just ready to help a bunch of women get through school, and there was also um, a lot of immigrants in my class, so they were doing kind of like they
Like
were trying to bring more
newcomers? Yeah.
people into welding, and
Mhm,
what they were looking for, because there's a lot of men in welding, and they wanted more women and they wanted more immigrants. So I guess they were just doing like a big
push.
training session, and
Mhm.
yeah, a big push. And yeah, it was very interesting to walk into that class when I figured it was going to be like not many women, and it was like half of them were women, and it was so wild.
Like, how did and you said it was a fluke, so probably it hasn't happened to you lots in your career where there's just a pile of women in the workplace or in the training space. How did it feel to walk into a class where half the class was women? Like, does that immediately make you feel more comfortable, or this show's going to be released during Women Empowerment Month, and I think that that's a part of power is being comfortable, right?
Right. I mean, it's hard to say. I don't know if I would have felt any different if it was all
Mhm.
men or women. I've always just felt more comfortable. Just I
Just
don't know.
you. Mhm.
That's a tough question. I don't think
Mhm.
that it would have phased me away.
So when you said when you went into the WIT program, you already kind of had welding on your mind. As a young girl, teenager coming up, how did welding get on your in your vision at all? How did you think that you might go down this path?
Okay, so I've been welding, so let me do a little math here. I think I was 24 when I started welding. So I wasn't a teenager. I
Hmm.
had done a few different things. I worked with kids with autism for 10 years, and I worked in the service industry. I worked in the film industry, and it just got to a point where I just really wanted to work with my hands, and I had fallen deeply in love with motorcycles, and I knew that I wanted to do something that revolves around motorcycles.
Hmm.
I tried the whole mechanic thing for a while, and I dropped a couple too many bolts for me to ever want to do that for, for a living. So I figured, oh, why don't I just try welding? Um I've always had kind of like a fear of um like gas and fire.
Hmm.
And I kind of just wanted to face that and tackle it. And I think that, I mean, I still like I turn on the tank every once in a while. I'm like, "Mm," and the fear is still there, but it's kind of exciting as well. And I just wanted to create, and I wanted to work with my hands, and I wanted to be excited at work.
So then, you finish this welding program. This is kind of like you're falling down your line. You have on the back of your side this love of motorcycles that you want to tie into somehow, right? Now, when you finish
Mm.
this welding program, what kind of work did you get immediately? Like, what type of welding work did you get, and how far into welding did you get?
So I got a job working at a shop in Kelowna, BC, and it was making truck parts for like Freightliner and Western Star. We were doing like boxes that you you attach your seat to, and ladders and all kinds of stuff for trucks. And they also did made parts for the military. So um, it was really cool because we got to interpret blueprints, and everything for the military is so like to the like millimeter,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
kind of like the perfect job to become a perfectionist. I did that for 2 years, and I worked at a few different fab shops in my day, and I've always liked working in a shop. I get to stay warm. I
Mm-hmm.
don't have to go work on a pipeline outside in the cold in Alberta. And I've always really liked the delicate kind of like TIG welding.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so working in a shop, it was like a clean environment, and well, not clean. I mean, you're a welder, but just go into the inside
Mm-hmm.
inside a
Yeah,
building and
I
stand.
feel you 100%. I like shop work myself. I'm not a big fan of field work. Everyone's cut from a different cloth. Um, there was things about field work that I thought were fun, but for like every day, it wasn't for me. Maybe for little spurts here and there, just to mix it up, it's okay. But I like being in a shop. I like organizing a shop. I like setting up a shop, like my tools, my stuff, the board, where things are. It's fun.
Agree, and everything's right there in front of you, and you're not like, oh, I forgot this tool. Like
I gotta go buy
right.
another one or call the shop, and the boss is gonna call me an idiot, being like, "What are you doing?" Like, so as you're working on in these companies and these jobs, did you start kind of working on the motorcycle stuff on the back end on your own? Because like I mean, if you go to your Instagram, it's like 99.999 motorcycle stuff, right? And you've really developed a name for yourself with the backrests or the sissy bars, and you know, how did you slowly work your way to that? Because that's not something that you just sort of like wake up at work and be like, I quit, I'm doing this now. There must have been a side hustle going on for a little while.
Yeah, so there was. So backtrack to
Mm-hmm.
school. The first welding process that we learned was oxyacetylene welding, and I they the teacher was basically like, "Here's our scrap bin. Do any project you want to do." So I grabbed some like 1.5 by quarter-inch flat bar. I made
Mm-hmm.
a sissy bar out of flat bar with a spider web in the middle with made out of TIG rod. So it was just like, and it was oxyacetylene welded. So it was just a mess.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a sissy bar, and it was my first project. And then fast forward through school, and then in my first job, I got my first motorcycle, and I figured that I wanted a sissy bar. I couldn't find a bar that I liked,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted something different than everybody else. Um, so I just stayed after work one day and I made a bar. It was like simple. It was just a bar, a tall sissy bar with a heart in the middle. And I was like, I was showing all the guys at work, and they're like, "Oh, that's great. You should go get it powder coated." I'm like, "What's powder coating?" Like, I never heard of any of this. And I remember they saying it's a baked on finish, and I was like, "Okay, this sounds cool." And powder coating is like, I use powder coating. I'm at powder coaters at least once a week nowadays. Um, so, so basically, I made this bar. I put it on my bike. I went to a couple bike events, and every bike event, there was somebody new who was like, "I want one. Can you make me one?" And I was like, "For sure. Like, I'll make I'll make you whatever." And people just kept coming to me with all these different ideas. Like it wasn't like the simple one that I just made with the heart on it. It was like somebody wanted their name on it. Somebody ordered one for their wife, and like it
Mm-hmm.
just kind of like it wasn't on purpose. It just happened. And then I was like, "Okay,
Organically.
well, I
Yeah.
guess Yeah, I just make sissy bars now. No, but I did work in different shops, and I built my bars on the side in other people's shops in my
Hmm.
work after hours, using other people's welders, other people's machines, other people's tools. And I did that for, I'm going to say, like 4 years.
Hmm.
And I just couldn't keep up with all the people wanting sissy bars. So eventually I got my own welder, got my own shop, got my own tools. I mean, it takes so much time to collect
Hmm. And everything
tools. The tool,
expensive. Yeah.
yes, it is. Um, so yeah, it was just like, it just kind of happened. It was really awesome, and I still to this day I love making sissy bars, and it's cool because I get to do something different every time, and I absolutely refuse to do the same bar twice. So
Hmm. So you don't have like a
um,
standard, Ria's sissy bar number one, like, or like on a, like it's on Etsy and you just pump those out in a jig. That's not the game.
no, I don't do that. Maybe one day when I catch up. I've
Hmm.
been working with a wait list for the last few years, and it's been months. Like, I have people who have been waiting for a bar for months. I think that one guy waited for like a couple years
Oh,
just because, they wanted something particular that maybe I couldn't cut out by hand, or I couldn't um,
form. Yeah.
bend
Hmm.
it, sculpt it by hand. I've obviously got a lot better than I did at the beginning, but yeah,
So what was your first motorcycle?
it was well, my first motorcycle was more like a scooter. We won't talk about that because I had it for 2 days and it just the bed. But my first motorcycle was a Harley Davidson Sportster, and it was the love of my life.
You still have it, or did you upgrade or change it out?
I sold it because I upgraded to a Dyna,
Hmm.
and I did not love the Dyna as much as I loved the Sportster.
Yeah.
I
Well,
found that this
it's a different layout. It's a different. You sit different. You ride different. Everything's different.
Yeah, it just handles corners so much better. Um, I'm a tall woman. I'm almost 6 feet tall, so
Hmm.
I'm a little bit big on the Sportster. But I think that so I when I moved into this house that I live in now, I sold my Dyna to pay to fund my shop
Hmm.
to build my shop. So I don't have a bike now. My partner has a street glide that I can ride anytime I want. But the next bike I'm gonna get a Sportster again.
Yeah, you're going back to your roots.
Yeah,
And what was your year? What year was your first one?
it was a '99.
And are you gonna go for that same gen that back in the late '90s?
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't want to go for the new fancy smancy ones? I mean, they're pretty slick.
It's not really my thing.
So, this sissy bars, every bike manufacturer, motorcycle manufacturer has a street cruiser, has that style of motorcycle, whether it's Honda or Kawasaki or BMW or Harley or Indian or whatever they are. Do you make sissy bars for every brand, or are you kind of more of a Harley sissy bar type of person? How do you figure out the mock-ups, the bolt patterns? How do you work your way through that?
So I build for any bike. I mean, not any bike. It has to be something that I can do um, re- uh, remotely,
Hmm.
because people don't bring their bikes to my shop. I ship all over the world.
Hmm.
Um, so I get my customer to fill out their measurements, and I made it pretty simple on my online. Um, lots of time people have a funny setup, and I have to tell them I can't do it because their bolts are like under, and it's just if it's on a strut, I can
Hmm.
pretty much do it. But sometimes, if someone's like really wants it, then I'll just have to get them to make some really get some good measurements and make a good drawing. But for the most part, I just have to trust my customers' measurements.
Yeah, lots of pictures.
Yeah, lots of pictures and even like pictures of them taking a measurement, so I
Yeah.
know that they're taking it properly. Because I've got some pretty interesting measurements, to say the least.
I just heard someone the other day said something was 5 and 8 tenths, and I was like, "Oh boy, here we go." Like, just use the millimeter side; it'll be easier for you. Now, when you build your bars, do you have different materials that you offer? Do you say we can do stainless, no painting, just clear? Can we do mild steel, powder coated? Can we do, maybe anodized or colored steel? Like, do you have these options?
I do. I can do stainless. I can do polished clear coat. I can do pretty much anything. I mean, the powder coater has any color under the
Hmm.
rainbow. The only thing that I do not do, which is asked for a lot, is chrome. And that's because where I live, there's one chrome person and they charge just as much as I do for a bar to get it chromed.
Hmm.
And people don't really want to pay that. So if someone wants a chrome sissy bar, I usually just I leave it bare and
Tell
they
them to
can
get it
they
chromed. Yeah.
yeah, they can get it done. Or I offer the polished and stainless, or polished and clear coat on stainless, and that ends
Hmm.
up looking pretty shiny. And
Hmm.
it doesn't quite match the chrome, if they have like a bunch of chrome on their bike. But for the most part, people choose like a powder coated black. But I
Yeah.
can do matte black, I can do like a high gloss black, I can do a semi gloss black, a sparkle on top. Um, I did do one recently that was it was stainless and I heated it up. It was for a firefighter
Give it some
and
color. Yeah.
I gave it some color and she wanted it to match her pipes. So I added some blue and it was like all different colors. Unfortunately, after I had it clear coated, because it's a baked on finish, it goes in an oven and it totally changed the color.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, so next time I do that, I think I'm gonna use like an auto body clear coat paint
Yeah.
without bake, and then I
Yeah.
think that will work better.
When you get your auto body clear coat, there's you can ask for them to mix it. It's called self etching. So when they do a self etching clear coat, they'll mix it with you with a little bit extra solvent. That way it goes on a little runnier. So you got to be real careful how you put it on, but then it gets deeper into the metal and it lasts longer. So you have to be careful, like lighter coats, but that way you get the coverage. You don't have to use heat and it lasts forever. And so like now I use self etching on almost anything. I did a bunch of motorcycle tanks and I had a specific color on the steel and I wanted it to stay. So I used self etching. And actually, the auto body guys recommended to me like where I get my paints mixed. And they're like, okay, if you don't want it baked, ask for self etching. Then you don't have to bake it, but you have to be more careful with the paint because it's touchier to use. And I was like, fair, okay, that's a good option. I just got to know I got to put the coats on super thin, right?
Hey, that's great to know. I've never heard of that before. So you
Yeah,
learn something new every day.
yeah. And I was gonna say, with with the powder coating, it's interesting because powder coating can be super expensive sometimes, and until you get in with someone that you start getting repetitive work, and then prices start going down. But I know like if you just cold call, sometimes it'll be like, okay, yeah, it'll be cheap if you bring us 1,000 of those parts. It's like, I got one, and they're like, well, setup is this is that, and you're like, holy, you got a powder coater there in town, right?
I do not have one in town. It's
Okay,
about an hour drive. Um, they are absolutely amazing to me.
awesome.
And sometimes I drop it off and I get a call like the next day that it's finished. It's like they appreciate me that I keep coming there. When I first went there, because I moved from Kelowna to here, and started using a different powder coater, and um, and they charged me. Well, when I first brought a bar in, she charged me like double,
Hmm.
and then I said, listen, I'm paying this at this place in Kelowna. I don't want to drive that far. I'd rather come to you guys. And she's like, oh, absolutely. I'll charge you what he's charging. And, it's kind of been good for her because I've been bringing them, sometimes
Steady work. Yeah.
6 a week. Like it's been,
Awesome.
yeah.
Another trick I learned about chrome, and this is something I learned from industry that I took into my car building world, is that when people ask for chrome, they always want what they call show chrome. Show chrome is that deep mirrored chrome, right? And that deep mirrored chrome is what generally is on bumpers. But there's also another type of chrome that gets used, which is called hydraulic chrome. So hydraulic chrome, if you ever pull apart a cylinder or open up a strut on a cylinder, you'll notice that the center shaft is chromed. Now that is still chrome, but it's not that deep mirror, but it's still clear and shiny, right? That hydraulic chrome is way cheaper and lasts longer than show chrome because it's an industrial chrome. So what I did is I actually found a hydraulic shop in town and I asked, do you guys have a chroming tank? And they're like, yeah, we have to have a chroming tank to do all our cylinders. And I said, well, what would you guys charge to chrome my stuff? So then I started selling my stuff. People come in and ask for chrome. I'd be like, okay, well, if you want show chrome, it's going to cost like twice as much because show chrome, I got to send it off to I think Edmonton was the nearest place for me to get that style of chrome. And it was a wait list like 3 months. I'm like, or I can get you industrial machine chrome and I can have it done by the end of the week at a tenth the price. I'll just get them to throw it in with the next batch of cylinders that goes in. And it's still shiny, it's still pretty, lasts forever, but it's just not as deep, which most people aren't going to notice, right? Most, like if you look at the inside of a cylinder, it's nice chrome, right? But if you hold that chrome up against a bumper, then you can kind of see the difference. But for the price difference, machine chrome is generally plenty good enough for 99% of the work you do.
That is amazing, and I'm gonna look into that.
Because there's generally hydraulic shops around most places, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've got two cities. I'm in between two cities, so Kamloops is so industrial. I'm sure that they
Hmm.
have something there.
Yeah, call them up and say, hey, you guys want to do something? And they'll be like, this is only hydraulic chrome. It's like, yes, exactly what I'm looking for.
I'm gonna look into that. Thanks.
The tips and tricks you learn. So this is a good time to take our break for the half an hour. We'll go to the commercial break, and then when we get back, we'll continue with Ria and Ria the Welder on Instagram. Here, I've been looking at her stuff all day since yesterday, kind of, and like I mean, you said you don't build the same one twice, and you're not kidding. So it's Ria dot the welder, no, Ria dot the dot welder on Instagram, and also riathewelder.com. So we'll be right back after this commercial break. And we're back here on the CWB Association podcast. My name is Max Ceron. Ria's impressed at the commercial time warp we just did there. And we're talking about her career in the trades and her path into the motorcycle world with custom backing bars, seat rests, sissy bars, however you want to call them. I don't think they're called sissy bars in the catalog, but I know that's what everyone calls them. Are they called sissy bars in a catalog? If you go to the Harley catalog, does it say sissy bars?
I have no idea. I call them a sister.
I think of
Love.
sissy, and it makes me think of people that are not strong, which maybe isn't nice, but I totally know what they are. And I mean, depending on the bike, they're very necessary if you're going on long trips, and for even strapping stuff too. They're a life send, right?
Or if your lady friend or your gentleman friend wants to have a couple of drinks, they can just hold on.
So when you design a bar, do you have like a minimum requirement? Do you say they need to be at least this high for safety? Because I know they can't be, you don't want them to be the middle of your back. Because then if something happens, you're going to smash your back on it. So either they got to be like low around your bum or high above your shoulders. What's your requirements? If someone reaches out to you and says, hey, Ria, I want to look at some bars for my bike, you're like, okay, well, this is the parameters that I have to work within, and then the rest is you. Or is it just free for all?
Generally, I don't like going less than 20. I like to make them 30 because I like a tall bar. I
Mm-hmm.
don't go taller than 30 because then they start to get that wobble. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the more it wobbles, the less the less structured it stays, it becomes weakened.
Mm-hmm.
So is the highest. If someone wants a really short one, I mean, it's so hard to get even like a design in a short
Mm-hmm.
one. So I think people come to me because of
You
how
have a
I build them. And
style. Yeah.
yeah, I have a style and they like my style. Don't get me wrong, I do get a lot of interesting requests. I think I've made a few where like the entire outside looks like a mermaid. or or like one that I made for myself previously, which was like 5 hearts stacked on top of each other.
I've seen that one.
Um,
That's super cool. I love the palm
yeah,
tree one. That one's sick.
yeah. There's actually been 2 palm trees I did recently, and I did them kind of like 3-dimensional, which is a lot of fun to start working
Mm-hmm.
more like into
Some,
sculptures.
yeah, I was just gonna say that. Like some of the stuff you're doing is getting more into the sculpture side because a lot of it I could tell early on was like just flat designs, cutouts, tacked together, welded, done, polished, the whole deal. But then I see kind of an evolution into shape, form, roundness. You're working contours, and is that are you an artistic person? Has art been a part of your process your whole life, or is this something that you're getting into now and learning?
I've always I've always wanted to be an artist. And
Hmm.
I've always worked with, I'd say, the wrong mediums. Um, Welding and metal have kind of like brought that out in me. Um, I've I've got the worst handwriting in the world. I think that it's because I'm just so I write so fast maybe, but I tried to do drawing for a bit. I tried to do painting. I do paint once in a while, if I'm feeling it. If I'm not feeling it, no, you can't force it.
Hmm.
Um, but with the welding, I don't know. I think part of it is being inspired by ideas, and it's hard to come up with all these different ideas on your own, and that's where my people that have got sissy bars, like everyone comes to me with like an idea, or at least like they're like, I love what you do, I want you to make me something. I like moons and stars, or I like palm trees, or I like whatever, like but sometimes people just like literally will draw out exactly what they want. So my inspiration, I guess, comes from uh what people want from me, and
Yeah,
then
like
I
your
kind of
interaction with them and working on it together kind of pulls the idea out.
yeah, yeah, sometimes it's a hit, sometimes people are like, I hate that. Like, yeah,
Let's start over.
not, that's art. Yeah, so I guess more recently I would consider myself an artist as of late,
Mm.
um with the sissy bars. Beforehand, I don't know, I never really found my calling.
Yeah. Now, what else? What other products do you do? In terms of what you build in your shop, are you just working on the sissy bars? You said you have a wait list, so it doesn't sound like you need more work. But do you do other products or other things?
So just up until recently, I've been telling everyone who's tried to ask me to make something else, ask me to do repairs or things like that. I've just been turning absolutely everything down because I really wanted to catch up on my sissy bars, and I don't like letting people wait,
Hmm.
um, making people wait, but I am one woman, and uh yeah, so lately I've been taking on a little bit more other stuff, like you may have seen on my Instagram, I recently made a shoe rack for a store that's made out of like vines.
Oh yeah,
And
I thought that was just like a shelf for plants or something. I was wondering what that was for.
it would be a beautiful plant rack, but it's a shoe rack for a
Okay.
store downtown Vernon. And the store specializes in small business, locally made, um, handmade stuff. So the woman who ordered it from me was very supportive in she gave me basically free reign to make something. She gave me a little idea. She told me how many shelves she wanted and the height and the width. And then I made it, and she came to me again, and she's got like a massive 10 by maybe 10 by 15-foot storefront of windows. She wants me to make security bars out of vines. So that's my next project.
Yeah, I've done a few security bars, creative security bars, which is fun. And it's a kind of an easy, fun job. It's not like a lot of rocket science. You get to be kind of like a little bit silly with it. It's like, I had a guy be like, "Can you make me security bars for my Windows store?" I'd gotten in broken into a few times. It's like, "Sure." And I went in there and I started drawing some stuff up, and he's like, "No, no, just like normal bars." I'm like, "No,
No.
I gotta. This is gonna be a little bit more fun. Just let me do my thing. All right, I'm not gonna charge you more. It's gonna be the same amount of steel. Just let me be a little creative here." Like,
That's how I feel. If someone gives me like, "Oh no, I just want something basic," I'm like, "Well, there's lots of welders out there who would love to help you." But I honestly, I I work for myself for a reason. So I
hmm
don't have to do these repairs or these boring jobs that I honestly, I've done my time in shops working for somebody else, building what they've told me to build, done a great job, did it in record time, and I want to do my own thing now. So the sissy bars allow me to be able to turn down those jobs that I don't want to do, which
hmm
I'm very, very grateful for.
So where are you at now with your shop? Like, do you have a pretty good square footage? Do you have good equipment? Like, what are you running for welders? Do you got a plasma or a laser cutter? Do you have a press or a shear? Like, where are you at in terms of your growth?
So I started off with nothing, and I worked my way up. The first tool that I got was a bender because I needed a bender. A lot of people bend their bars with oxyacetylene and like a dowel on a table, but I bought a bender. Um, it was like $300, and it's been the best tool in my shop, obviously, because I bend stuff all the time. Um, so my shop is 20 by 20. It's not super big. It's just my garage. I run an Everlast welder, TIG welder. I only have a TIG welder. I need to get myself a MIG welder for because doing jobs on the
Make
ground
stuff. Yeah.
when you're TIG welding, and I'm
hmm
going to be making those big security bars, so I need a MIG welder to do that. Um, I just recently got a fast cut 4x4 plasma table,
Oh, that's nice.
which has been an absolute game changer. It's by far my favorite tool in my shop, and the biggest. And I run a hypertherm plasma cutter with it. And honestly, learning how to run a plasma table and kind of like working um, the technology of the computer and learning all
hmm
that part, it's been so interesting, and it's been so like it's been a game changer. I couldn't imagine cutting all of those leaves for the
hmm
vine by hand. Um, Obviously, I drew them on the computer. So learning how to draw on a CAD program is something that's new to me,
And can be
and
very frustrating when you're first starting.
it can be. Thanks, YouTube.
Yeah.
Uh, And I've also started to draw more by hand, like with a Sharpie.
hmm
I'm gonna get a proper drawing program, so I don't have to do the Sharpie. And then what I do is I scan it to the computer as a document, and it turns like to black and white. And then I transfer it into the right file, and then I put it into my TurboCAD, and then I fix it up. So it's been a learning curve, but
hmm
it's been amazing, and it's so cool to be able to turn something from nothing to metal.
hmm Just an
Yeah.
idea to metal. Now, in terms of is this your full-time gig now? Like, is this you work in your shop every day, and this is what you do? You're Your side hustle is not working for somebody else on the side.
I actually had a baby a couple years ago. He's 2 now.
Hmm.
So I am a mom, and I am a mom 2 days a week, and then I
Hmm.
work 3 days a week, 4 days a week, depending on the weekend, and then
Hmm.
I have that 1 day with my entire family. So yeah, I'm only working 3 days a week right now. Um, it's a daycare issue,
Hmm.
uh, but, yeah, no, I don't work for anybody else. I work for myself and my son.
Yeah. Well, 3 days a week on your own, it can be very lucrative if you plan it right and you got everything going. Like I know when I run exactly the same way as you, except I have a full time job. But I used to have a big shop and big company and everything. But now it's just my garage. It's just me and my garage. I'm very picky with the work I pick up. I'm behind right now, honestly. Hopefully this weekend I can maybe catch up. I do like random things that I find interesting that come in, and I have a few contracts that are more long term, but I don't take on more than I want to. And generally when I tell people that can you do something for me, I'll be like, yeah, but are you in a rush? Because if you're in a rush, go somewhere else, because it's got to
Yeah,
fit into my world and my time, and I do a lot of stuff, so it kind of has to fit in there. But I can go into my shop and be in there for 2 days, like lock myself in 8, 10 hour days. And in those 2 days, I can pump out enough work that'll pay for the month, honestly, if I really, really get to it. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that's the beauty of being a business owner, is that it's just you and your materials and just you and your tools. And you just get in the zone, put on the music, and then you just make, and the stuff you make, no one else is making. So you price what you price, and generally it's all pre-sold anyways, so it's just a matter of getting it done and getting it back to the customer. And then very rarely, I mean, I don't even very rarely do you have someone say they don't like something, or they don't, because it's custom. It's like, what do you mean this was your idea?
yeah, and if someone, like, ghosts you after you make it, they're not gonna ghost you because I'm just gonna sell your idea to somebody else,
Yeah, and it'll sell like
right?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, as for, the working 3 days a week, I should correct myself there because I'm always working.
Yeah.
I run media. I'm constantly replying to emails. When I have my kid, we go to the post office together. I'm when I have my kid, I do the trip to the powder coaters, and
Hmm.
so so I guess I'm working
It
full
never
time.
stops. Yeah.
It never stops. And I'm the kind of person who can't let a message in my inbox be unread.
I'm the
I
same way.
like have to do it.
I
I
have
have to
friends
reply to
that
it.
they'll open up their phone and they'll have like 6,000 unread messages. I'm like, that, I jump off a bridge. I can't do that.
No, I'm the same way. Yeah, it probably drives my family crazy, but it's just what you have to do to be a successful
Hmm.
in business.
When I had my kids, I got divorced. I got, custody. We did 50-50 custody with the kids, and we had two kids, and I had my shop, and I couldn't get daycare. So I actually just built a daycare room at my store. And so, 3 days a week, my daughter was old enough to be at school full time, but my son was still under 5. So he was with me all day at work, and he had his toys, his TV, his little couch. He would be like hanging out with my staff. They'd be buying him treats, and he had his little scooter that he'd rip around in the shop on. And people, later in life would be like, what was it like, as a single dad with kids at work? It's like, you just do what you got to do. Like, I mean, you can't let an excuse stop progress. You just got to figure that out, however it is. And that does not mean it's easy. That's the opposite of what I'm saying. Because there's people out there who's like, oh, that must have been, did you find it easy once you got the kid there? No, because then you also have some days your kid's a screaming brat and they're freaking out or they're sick, and then you're at work and you're trying to answer phones, and I mean, or you're trying to like weld and your kid's coming over to look at you, and it's like, no, you can't look at this. Like, what do you do?
12 feet, 12
Yeah.
feet.
So, like, I commend you for like doing it, and scheduling's important. The day you got your kids, those are the post office days, those are the email days, those are the all the other things. Even if it's just sitting and thinking about work, it's important that you're working, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, what's your plans now for your company? Like, what is your company's name? Is it just Ria the Welder Company, or
It,
do you have a? Yeah.
welder, a self-proprietor. I actually got like the government accepted that name, so I've always thought maybe should I change it, but it's everybody knows it. There's no point.
Yeah,
Ria the Welder.
it's your
It's not
brand.
like
You're
it's a
good.
yeah. Um, yeah. I'm uh I'm okay with it for now, and
Yeah.
I think I'm just gonna keep keep making sissies, and I would really love to start doing more sculptures. And I really like this vine project that this woman has me doing. Um, she had it. She had some glass made for the shelves, and I haven't been in to see it yet. I've seen a video at the store, but it looks so beautiful, and I'm so proud of it. And she has it right in the front, like you can see it as you walk by, and it just feels so good to create something that somebody loves, and
Hmm.
I think it's beautiful, but they also think it's beautiful, and they're happy to like pay me for my time and my work. And it's, you know, custom stuff. It takes a lot of time. It's not like
Hmm.
it's a jig. It's not like it's just cut and like I'm cutting stuff on a plasma table over and over again, but it's not, it's different. I'm using a torch to like bend the vines, and
And texture them. Yeah.
yeah, it just feels so good to create something that people like.
You want to hear another trick for leaves? I'm just trick
I
man
sure
today.
do.
So if you have an old 2x4 or a 4x4 of wood, you heat up the leaf till it's red hot, and then you pound it into the wood. The grain of the wood will imprint on the leaf and give the leaf that planty texture. So that
I'm definitely
it'll give it like those little veins look of a real leaf. So you get them red hot, put them on the wood, and just pound it, flip it over, pound it a few times, and it'll give it that. I learned that at a blacksmithing session that I went to. They're like, how do you make your leaves look real? And he had these beautiful leaves, and you could see like grain on them. And I was like, how do you do that? And then he showed us all. He like heated up this leaf and then put it on a piece of wood and just like bang, bang. And he's like, pick different types of wood. They'll imprint differently depending on the hardness or the softness of the wood. And they'll make different patterns on the leaf to give it a. So if you run your fingers on them, they actually feel like a real leaf. And I was like, wow, I am forever taking that. So
I love it. I'm Thank you for sharing your secrets, Max.
they're not
Appreciate
secrets.
you.
They're industry knowledge, right? This is why I do what I do. This is why you're on this show. You're sharing your knowledge to the community. I love the welding community. I love knowing what everyone out there is doing because everyone does it differently, right? Everyone's got their spin on it, and it's just awesome, right? Like I mean, it's just I've done like almost like 70 shows now, and every day that I do a podcast, I'm like, wow, wow, wow.
Yeah, I mean, the welding industry is so cool. I've met so many awesome people, and I've met so many awesome women. Like,
Mhm.
I've met so many awesome welder women recently, and ones that I haven't even met in person, right? Just
Mhm.
online. I've been talking to Ray Ripple, and I've been talking to Stacy from 605 Shield Maiden, and everyone is just so like it's almost like we're just on the same level in
Mhm.
being women in trades, and I get along with them so well and so much better than a well, I'm just it's hard to say. I'm not your normal cut lady.
Well, and maybe
You
that's
can
the idea we just need to throw out the window. What the hell is a normal cut lady? Like, I mean, what does that even mean? Like, forget about it. What's a normal cut dude? Like, forget it. Like, let's just forget this idea of normal cut anything. The women,
yeah.
female welding community that is supporting each other, is amazing. And, I love watching it from the outside grow and watching women support each other and get confident and forget this notion that it's weird, like, or outside the norm or that's dead. I mean, we all as a society just let that die. There's no such thing as I've heard I've had even young women students be like, well, I've always been a bit of a tomboy, so I thought I could be good in the trades. It's like, that's kind of, I don't want you to think like that. It's not weird to be a girl that's 8 years old and wants to play with a chainsaw. That's badass. Forget about it. It's not tomboy. You don't have to pretend to be kind of boyish. You can just be a badass girl. You don't have to. It doesn't mean you're boy. And if there's a guy and he wants to wear fashionable clothing and do his hair and wear makeup, that doesn't make you girlish. You're just a dude who likes makeup. Like, I mean, who cares,
True that. True
right? Like,
that. And that's what society has blasted into us. Like, I mean, yeah, growing up, like I loved wearing dresses, but I always had short hair, and people would tell me, "Oh, Ria looks like a dude," but it was like, you just have to kind of have that off, like I am who I am kind of personality. But yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And I've seen it become more and more women being in the trades or men dressing up however they want to dress up. Like it's just happening more and more, and it's becoming more normal. And you're right. Like we need to squash that, definitely.
hmm and it's as an ally, right? Because I try to be an ally. I try to be an ally for a lot of different things, and I love when people ally to me because I have my things. I'm an immigrant, so I love when people, when non-immigrants or white people try to ally with me and support me as in my immigrant stuff. And awesome. And I try to ally out because I am a male, so I have male privilege 100%. I have health privilege. I have education privilege. I acknowledge my privileges. I have skills privilege by being a good welder. This has afforded me a great life, right? I look at how I can ally to women, and being an ally sometimes means supporting from the outside and kind of staying the hell out of it, right? Like you don't need to come in and mansplain or man control what women are doing. I've seen males be in that position, and not because they're mean or want to, they just don't know the right way. So they'll be like, "Oh, I want to help women. I better get in there and do stuff for them." No, 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 no. Just stay the hell out. Like that's not how you help. That's like the opposite. Just
You
just
ask
support.
for help from the women. You
Yes.
ask them, "Can you help me lift this?" That's
hmm
how you help,
You just stay on
right?
the
You
outside and just don't even look at it from that angle. Like they don't. You don't just come in and force help. That's totally patriarchy right there. Says straight up.
don't know it.
So, what's the future for Ria the Welder? Are you thinking standalone shop someday, staff, the whole 9 yards, or are you happy just kind of, being the crazy lady with the 9 cats and her kid out in interior BC making sissy bars?
I only have 2 cats. I do have a lot of chickens, though. I have chickens, I have turkeys, I have guinea fowl. I love gardening. I live on an acreage. We had goats
That
at one
sounds like a
point.
dream. Sounds like a dream.
Yeah. Um, Eventually, like what you said earlier, I would love to be able to offer maybe like 5 um, generic Ria the Welder sissy bars that maybe one has a heart, maybe one has a flame, maybe one has a star or something. But
hmm
I want to be able to offer that on my website so people who don't want to wait for custom can order one and get it like in the next couple weeks. But as of right now, like I can't keep up. And
hmm
I feel like in order to be able to offer that, I will need to get staff. Um, I think that even if I had someone doing my shipping and receiving, um, answering emails is difficult because I kind of need to know all that information, and I need I can't just scan through. Sometimes people will send you an email and then they'll start a whole new feed in another email, and it's like if I don't do that myself, how am I going to know that they wanted this simple little change, or they
hmm
changed their address and I'm shipping it to the wrong address? It's like it's a lot. So if I did branch off and make like a generic bar, I'd probably hire a welder, which and again, that's another thing because I'm Ria the Welder. And if someone orders a Ria the Welder sissy bar, they want it welded by Ria the Welder.
Well, and not necessarily. Like, I mean, that you'll find customers will understand because you're still the boss. It's still your company, and they'll trust you to hire who you need to succeed. No one's going to say, "Hey, Ria, I love your product. Don't grow." Right? People that support you will support you, and as you grow, and you manage your staff. Like when I finally got to the point where I said had to start hiring staff, I was so picky. Like, I mean, I was like so picky because, like, I mean, this is my family's livelihood is riding on my company, and I can't have someone come in and just ruin it for me. Like, I gotta watch who I hire, and that, even that being said, some people didn't work out, and I had to be like, no, it's just not the right fit because it's not who I am, right? And it's tricky, but growth is growth, and you can't just grow forever alone. That's You'll burn yourself out for one thing. Like, I mean, at some point you have to bring in help, and like, I mean, literally today I was like asking my wife if she could go mail stuff for me because I don't know when I'm gonna have time. I'm gonna mail out a bunch of stuff for customers, and she's like, I got the day off. I'm like, I'll pay you. She's like, no. And I was like, do you know anyone that wants to make $20 to drive the stuff to the like, I literally just sometimes you need the smallest of help, and it stresses you out, right? Like,
Well, yesterday my guy came into the shop and he wrapped about 7 sissy bars for me for shipping. And I mean, that's rare that that happens, but he had the day off and he came in there, and it took him the entire day
hmm
to do it. He's never done it before. It will be taking me half the time, but it still saved me half of a day, and I got to
hmm
work for that day and build and do what I really wanted to do. I hate shipping. I hate it. I hate going to the post office. I hate wrapping it. It's like it's my mortal enemy, but it has to be done.
hmm Sounds like you need to hire a high school student to come in once a week and do that for you.
Hey, that's a good idea.
No, that's what I used to do. I used to hire right out of high school, especially in summers when my shop was really busy. I'd be like, if you're into, because at the time I was building cars, so I'd be like, if you're into cars and you want to work with car products, I just need someone to come and help with shipping and stuff and standing at my front desk because I'm in the shop. And I just like having someone at the front desk, and I'd give them minimum wage plus commission if they happen to sell something. If you happen to sell something, you get to keep 10% or whatever. And I'd always have these great kids come in, and they were just happy to be around, and they'd watch what I did. And you know what? Some of them went on to start up their own companies and got inspired and became welders and fabricators, and good, awesome. They helped me out. It's cheap. Got that off my plate. I didn't want to do it either. Like,
Yeah,
all
that's
right,
great.
well,
That's another Max.
well, we've come up to the end of the interview, and I wanted to ask you before we go, what advice you would give, as a strong female mentor for people, and you may or may not consider yourself that, but people outside of you will, and young girls coming up and looking at you running your own company, doing your own badass stuff, will be like, oh man, that's awesome. I might want to do that. Even a 12-year-old girl who's an artist and doesn't know what medium to work in might be like, steel's a medium I've never thought about. Maybe that's something I want to experiment with. What kind of advice would you give a young girl coming up that's kind of maybe a little artsy, that doesn't know what to do in terms about the trades? What would you say about them into getting into the trades?
Um, well, I would say just do it. uh, yeah, don't stay at a job that you hate just because it's secure. Um, yeah, don't waste too much time. Life is so valuable, and you have to do what you love. And if you want to find out if trades is something that you're going to love, like, you have to at least try it. And if you love it, then quit your job and go and do it,
hmm
cuz nobody else is going to do it for you. It's not going to get handed to you. You have to just do it. um there's going to be struggles along the way, just like there is in any job that you
hmm
have, but at least you're not going somewhere that you don't like to be, and doing something that you don't want to do, be it staring at a computer all day or whatever it is. You just have to take the leap and get it done for happiness. Like, I remember having some jobs that I just dreaded going to, and that's really no way to live, because in our society we have to work so much. We have to work so much to survive in this new world. Um, and you may as well do something that you love and you want to do, and you're satisfied at the end of the day. Like I do, even when I was working in the fab shops, like I would finish a day of work and it would just feel so satisfying. I built so many boxes today. You know, I at the end of the day or last break, I'd go up, oh, what else you got for me? You did everything you needed to do today. Like you
Mm-hmm.
can clean it, sweep the shop or whatever. It was just like, yeah, just do what you love and do something for that makes money, that you're happy.
Yeah.
You have to be happy at work. And if you're miserable, then quit.
I struggled learning that lesson for a long time when I was younger and did things I didn't like. And it made me really unhappy and really set me down a sad path for a while where I started hating the trades. But it wasn't the trade's fault. It was mine. It was my fault for letting myself be in a bad situation. And situations can even change. Like it was a job that I did love and started to hate, and then I had to bounce, right? Like, and sometimes that happens in life. Just because you were happy doesn't mean you have to stay happy. Things change, you evolve, jobs evolve. You got to be willing to move and evolve with the flow, like whatever life brings you. And like you said so well, life is too valuable to waste being unhappy. And we're going to have to work 40 to 60 hours a week our whole lives, no matter what, just because that's life. And people will be like, oh, this is a funny comment I hear all the time. Society forces us to toil in labor for our lives. And it's like, look outside in nature. Do you think a bird wakes up and decides he doesn't want to work today? Every single living thing on this planet wakes up in a struggle. Every
Hmm.
single living thing on the planet struggles every day to eat, to find love, to procreate, to stay warm. We're just another animal. So if you're going to have to get up and struggle, you might as well find something that you enjoy to struggle at. Because we're no different than the rest of nature. And if you think you can get through without working, tell that to the wolf. What happens if Wolfie doesn't get up out of bed for a week? They starve to death. Like, I mean, everything gets up and has to struggle. We're no different, but we have the choice. We're smart. We're top of the food chain. You might as well do something you enjoy, right?
Yep, I agree.
All right, Ria. Well, for all the people that have been listening, make sure you definitely check her out on Instagram. It's Ria.the.welder, and it's or RTW Sissy Bars. She's a designer. I make sissy dreams happen, she says. And it's RiaTheWelder.com. Awesome stuff. Really good on Instagram and great interview. I really enjoyed this interview. Ria, do you have any shout outs for anybody? You want to say hi to anybody while you're here?
Oh, no. I don't want to make anybody feel bad for someone I shouted out and didn't shout out.
Oh, does
No,
that happen?
thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here. I had like a few CWB certifications over the years, and I was always very proud of them. And I was always really excited when the CWB inspector came in to do tests. And I'm really excited that I got to do this with you. So thank you.
Awesome. You're
And
welcome. And sorry, what was
shout
that? Yeah, shout out to all those strong women out there, and keep empowering, us dudes on the outside. I'm just here to support. You tell me what to do and I'll do it. It's your train, you run it, you lay the tracks and you burn it. So, that's all I can do, and that's all I'm trying to do is just be a good cheerleader, right?
thank you, Matt.
And for all the people that have been listening, thank you very much for staying tuned. We got lots of stuff coming up. This one will be released during Women Empowerment Month, which is March, and we got lots of events coming up after that. So we got FabTech/CanWeld in Toronto. This is June 13th, 14th, 15th. So make sure you guys come out to FabTech. It's our first face-to-face conference in Canada in 3 years, well, almost 3 years, and we are pumped. We're going all out. We're not cheaping out or squeezing pennies. We're gonna have a fantastic show. Plus, we're partnered with FabTech Canada, so we're basically doubling down. So we're gonna have all the best vendors, all the best speakers. We're gonna have amazing. We got Stephanie Hoffman coming up to be on a panel. We got like all the coolest. We actually have an all-female panel about automotive and manufacturing welding, and just because it's like, hey, like we got to put our money where our mouth is. Let's do this. Let's rock and roll. And so I hope to see you guys out there in June. Also in May, we're also going to be at the CAF conference in Halifax, and we're going to be doing Educators Conference online, which the first week of May. So check out our education programs online, TSUP. Check out our conferences. I could talk about it all day, but just go to our website, CWBAssociation.org. It's all there. And if you guys got any questions, always email in anytime. Thank you for listening, and share, download, and repeat. I'll see you guys next week. Thanks, Ria.
We hope you enjoyed the show.